You're now tuned into the hottest podcast in the world, the Stay Woke Podcast, right here on the SonicBreakdown.com.
Welcome back to another Stay Woke Podcast. This is Drea Brinson, and the Stay Woke Podcast is presented by the SonicBreakdown.com. Thanks for rocking with us and listening to another episode. Today's episode is sponsored by Fishes and Loaves Clothing Line. If you don't know, check them out. Again, that's Fishes and Loaves Clothing Line. Today's episode is going to be part 2 to the All About Drea episode. So if you haven't listened to part 1, take the time and listen to it. Because on this episode, on part 2, we're getting a little bit deeper and more personal with Drea, more personal than we did on the first one. So thanks for listening, and here we go. I kind of want to get back to one thing is,
okay.
Of course, because this podcast is not about Trump.
It's
not about elections.
It's not about politics.
Not about politics. It's about Drea.
Okay.
So,
Redirect.
Redirect.
What got you to start the podcast?
Oh, that's a deep question.
And when did you get the idea versus when did you actually start releasing and recording?
Okay. So the path to releasing and recording was very short. My family is a whole bunch of entrepreneurs. My closest relatives, like my uncle, my dad, they haven't worked a regular job, and no, they're not drug dealers. They haven't worked a regular job in forever. And that's because of their own ambitions and what they want to have and all that. So that's my example.
Shout out to staving off the passive racism of all the listeners who are judging your story out of hand.
I know. I have to for the people
just
in the
acknowledging.
back. For the people in the back.
Just acknowledging. Real quick.
And that's never been my journey. I had a child when I was 20 or 19, 20. And I kind of allowed my circumstance to hold me back from my degree goals, but I never allowed it to hold me back, as far as my career goes. So, I quit my job as a finance manager for a, ad agency in San Francisco. And paid very well, but I just was not about that commuting. I realized that I was having anxiety attacks and I didn't know it. I have migraines, but they start to happen more often to the point where it's debilitating. I had to have people come and pick me up because tunnel vision will kick in, and I'm not even I don't feel any kind of way, but it would be the symptoms of my skin crawling. Right. And so I'm on BART trying to take my clothes off underneath my coat, like a crazy person, because I just couldn't take, it was just the stress of commuting. I would leave my house at night, or the sun would be down when I leave my house. The sun would be down when I got home. And it was just, and I couldn't afford to live in the immediate Bay Area. And I was just like, I found a great, great doctor. Oh my God. I love her so much. She's really about finding the most natural way as possible. But if I need medication, yes, you need medication. But
there's a point. She has that balance.
Yeah, exactly. And it was amazing. And so I went to all these different doctors and found out that it wasn't a brain issue. I didn't have a tumor. I was having anxiety attacks. And she said, we need to change something. So what is it that you're willing to give up? What is it that you're really willing to do? And I had my tonsils removed because that was a thing. And I quit my job. And I have been making it ever since, just not working or I shouldn't say that, not working a regular 9 to 5, but making sure my bills are paid, making sure my kid's good and all that stuff. But so fast forward a little bit, I was getting to the point where I knew I needed something. And I feel like everybody has a purpose, and I still don't necessarily know what it is for me. But I do know I have a voice, and I wanted it somewhere. I know all about business and starting businesses, but nonprofits are an animal within themselves. Mm-hmm. So I knew that would be a struggle. But I know so many people that are doing great things, right? That are in that space, that do know about it, that are actively in the space, especially with our youth. And I really have a heart for people. I really, really do. I want people to do better and start looking inside themselves for the answers sometimes, and being humble enough to ask for the help when they need it. So that's what started that idea of the podcast. And then my friend Anthony and I, we talk all the time about just life, relationships, whatever's going on. And I hit him up in December. I said, hey, we're going to record this podcast, so just be ready. He was like, oh, okay, cool, no problem.
That's a real friend right there. It's just like, all right, if you ask for it, all right, let's go.
Oh, you want to put what I say on tape? Hold on.
And it just started from there. And our first podcast was extremely organic, and I love the feel of it because it just is. I would love to see it grow, but to me, it's really great. Just the way it is. Obviously, it's so new; it could always be tweaked.
It's going to evolve and change,
yeah,
to a degree, but
absolutely.
it's not going to be forced,
right? But I think the most important part is I may not have all the answers, and I don't need to, but I just want you to think a little bit more, think outside of your circumstance, because trust me, I have had some circumstances, and most of them was because I was doing some foolishness. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can always be better, even if you think you're perfect. So,
and that wasn't the end of the story. The end of the story wasn't Drea did some foolishness at the end.
No.
It was Drea did some foolishness and fucking learned something.
Right.
Exactly.
And I own my shit. There's
Yeah.
nothing nobody can say about me that I haven't already said. So
That's
it's,
rough.
you can tweet me, you can post a blog about me. It is nothing you could say about me that other people don't know, because I live in my stuff. Like, I really do. Like, I'm okay with that. Now, I'm not proud and beating my chest and saying I did these wrong things, but I'm also very comfortable with the mistakes that I made, because that's just life, and I don't pretend to be perfect. So if my little mistakes, my big or small mistakes, can save you a lifetime of headache, I'm here for it.
And that's admirable. Just the idea of being willing to be that open and that free and that willing to allow other people to learn from your mistakes as well as you learning from them. And I think it is, like you said, I think it is somewhat therapeutic in essence.
Yeah.
Being open about it and letting the world hear what you have to say about an issue. And like you said, I think people will, because everybody's experienced something similar in some degree, or could go through something similar and avoid that path and still go on a different path and maybe a better path for them. Not saying that your path was bad for you, because it got you to where you need
guys,
to be. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, but I've never made a mistake in my life. I'm perfect. Let me get my Trump finger. I'm perfect. Perfect, okay? No, okay? You're being rude. Okay? Next question. Never in my life, okay?
You had all the best action.
Okay, and I'm hearing things, okay? People are telling me things, all right?
That's the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
So, yeah, it's a new regime, and this is a new era. This is how we live now, okay? I've never made a mistake in my life, all right? She just made that story up, okay? It's all.
I wanna bring that because of that. Did you hear that story about the senator that what did he grabbed a woman? He grabbed a woman
By her pussy?
and in Connecticut, and when the cops arrested him or something like to that extent, he just felt like he could. He just had.
Hey, no, I'm sorry,
because
but
I don't remember the details exactly, but basically the statement that he said was like because I could, because I feel like I have the right, in essence, why not?
That kind of goes more towards rape culture.
Yes.
I don't know. But like I said, this whole campaign has incited things. It has not created them.
Exactly. No, and that was one of the to me the best things about this. If you can take anything best about it is like you said, this isn't a new thing. It's just that it's brought to light. It's been illuminated now.
It's now so
now we know it.
obvious that even white people can detect it.
Because as Kanye said in the song, he's like, racism is still alive. They're just concealing it. And when for a long time, black people were saying, or people, not even black people, people of color were saying, Y'all don't see this racism? Y'all don't see the shit that they doing? Y'all don't see what you don't see how they treat me differently than they treat you. You don't see how I'm being affected differently than you are being treated here. And people that weren't people of color would go, I quite don't see what you're talking about.
Kanye fucked up my Thursday night a couple months ago, so he could kiss my ass with that bullshit he was talking. All right, first of all. And second, how do you grab somebody? How do you grab a vagina? By his foot, like I've never, you caress, you
grab her by
fondle,
the
you play.
I mean, I can see it.
You don't grab. How do you grab? That sounds so.
That just line right there.
This is
gives
a
you a visual. It's not a good one, but it gives you a visual.
It's a trash visual.
But that is the verbiage that came out of our president.
This is a PSA for all the lost male sheep out there. Grabbing a pussy is actually not a form of greeting in our culture. So let me just erase any lingering ambiguity about that. We're still a handshaking kind of a culture. We're not a pussy shaking culture.
Shake hands.
Let me put that out there.
Thank you.
If I seen somebody grab
some people need that distinction. that is
the case.
Grabbing the pussy is not an American etiquette for hello.
Yeah, if I seen a man grab a woman's pussy, I would ask her, "Are you okay?" Because that looked like it really hurt.
Yeah,
like
that is not appealing
someone
at all.
reaching down and grabbing your mom, your sister, your daughter by her pelvic bone to say hello? I mean, because that's essentially what we're talking about, right? So I'm going to reach between your legs. I'm going to grab your crotch. And I'm going to pull you towards me. Because that's what that means.
That's the issue that I have with everything regarding like rape culture, just that, because it's like, every time I say like the whole thing with the Ray Rice, and there's multiple accounts and things that you can bring up, but it's like, now, you decided to do that based on what we just seen them do, confirm that they did or said that they've done. And you think it's okay to just like allow that behavior to continue to happen? Because the way I see it is I never had any sisters. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, when those things happen, my head goes to, if somebody did that to my mom, I'm ready to kill you.
Yeah.
If somebody did that to my grandmother, it's me or you, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't, and to me, and I don't just get how other people their minds don't go there. Like,
we talked about the bubble.
Yeah, there's no knowns, there's known unknowns, and there's unknown unknowns. So those are the people in the unknown. But they just sweep it
under the rug, though. They don't hold anybody accountable for it. Like, let Barack Obama say one of these outlandish ass comments that just one
in front of the White House.
They've been digging. They still digging for Barack Obama's dirt. I'm saying, you know what I'm saying?
They still saying that he don't have an authentic birth certificate.
Right. The only thing they could really stick him with was smoking cigarettes. And he cut that down to one a day.
And he admitted he used to smoke weed.
In private.
It's legal.
I mean,
what are we even talking about? Fuck that. Wow.
Right. No, that's what it is.
So
yeah.
And it's like, nobody gets held accountable. Like all these things that are being like that is allowed. Like I just like, this is like, anybody, like, I don't care what side, whether you're red or blue, whatever, like, is anybody going to say, okay, this is not, the world is watching.
Yeah.
The world is watching. We're a joke now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you will never see Donald Trump doing what, Barack Obama was, it seemed like once a month I seen Bruce, the first time a sitting president has ever been in this country in 60 years and shit like that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are not gonna, I just feel as though we're just not appealing anymore. America's not appealing like that because of our leadership now. Like,
It'll always be appealing.
How do we have foreign?
Yeah, it will always be appealing.
Yeah, and that's for the wrong reason.
But that's to a certain extent why I think why we're at this point is because we're becoming complacent because we know we have this mantle for the world.
We be saying Donald Trump going to Cuba,
but we are seeing it slip.
Stuff like that. That's what we are.
But we are seeing that mantle slip, and it's not beyond the pale that we can lose that forefront. We can lose that hold, and so that's what I think we just it's sad to me, bro.
It's It's terrifying, actually.
We're deeply in our adolescence as a nation, though. Like,
Yeah,
really,
that's what I'm saying.
225
We're not that
years?
old.
Not
No.
that long.
No.
Not that long to be a sovereign nation. And are we gonna survive this hypocrisy crisis? I honestly, genuinely don't know.
That is the scariest part about it for me is that idea that, because really your words, and it just doesn't seem at this time that our president takes his words into account and understands the strength and the power that his words have in the nuances.
True.
I think he understands that his voice and what he's saying has power, and he
does
uses
understand
it.
that. Yeah.
But I don't think he understands the nuances, that little things that you say, even though you mean to say it the way you say it, can have an effect on like us as a whole country to a dramatic extent.
No,
that
you're wrong.
We can't recover from.
I disagree. He says what he wants to say.
No, I
He
know.
knows
I said
exactly what he's saying. You're saying no. It's like you want me to feel like, oh, like maybe he doesn't realize, what he's actually like. It's actually bad. No, he knows exactly what he's saying. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's getting there. He's just being allowed to, like, nobody's checking him on it.
I'm not sure. F and Maddie, like some of the weird shit he was saying about Taiwan and
That's
Hong
what I mean.
Kong, and like, does he know about the long history of whether or not we're sovereign and the whole shit? Like, does he know any of that? I honestly don't. I don't know.
Probably not the history of it, but it's just like he firmly just I'm just saying whatever he feels like saying, he just says, and nobody like, hey, no, that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's what I'm saying. I don't disagree with that, but what I'm saying is there's a difference between saying what you want to say and understanding that, yes, the point that you think you're giving, because when you're saying something, there's the message that you intend to give, and then there's the message that the person gets.
Perception.
all right, well, let me just try
So
and
my
just
point
like
is,
get
I
in
don't
a-
think he understands how it's perceived, what he's saying. I think he definitely understands how he wants to say it and what he thinks he's giving across. But I don't think he's taking into account like how Russia's taking this, how China's taking this, how Germany's taking this,
Oh, Vladimir
how Syria's
Putin,
taking this.
He
You know
just
what I'm
sitting here
saying?
looking like he doesn't like Barack Obama. They didn't get along because that dude is smart. And I can't get over on him. He looking at Donald Trump like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? This I'm riding this gravy train for 4 years now. It's good.
Right.
Like whatever you want. It's like they're buddies. Like he just.
Yeah, and that's all. Go ahead.
Because if we actually go to war with China, Russia and America are going to make a fuckload of money.
Yeah.
A fuckload of money.
True.
Yeah, Putin's like, yeah, that guy's a fucking idiot. I want to do business with him.
Well, this got depressing.
Yeah, so let's segue it into some
actually
happier
funny.
things.
Okay. give it to me.
I do wanted to ask you because in preparing for this interview, you said that you're starting a new podcast. Are you're planning on?
Oh yes.
So I wanted to let's get into what sparked that idea and what is this new podcast? Do you have a name for it?
Yes, I do.
And what is it going to be
premises?
covered?
So I named it the Deadlift Podcast. So so I have a blog called Unsupervised Adulting.
Check it out.
And
Nice name, by the way.
yeah, thank you. I realized there's just honestly, like the premise of the blog itself is just finding out shit that you should be doing as an adult. And maybe not everything is for you, but there's some stuff like there's just no handbook to being an adult.
No.
It's not. Your parents can't even tell you how to go, especially if your journey is your own journey. Like, and even if your parents told you, I'm a grown lady at this point, but even if your parents did tell you, it's no telling how long you'll actually be happy with that journey, right? So you
That's
have to
true.
kind of figure that out. But so I was thinking I wanted to do another podcast where we kind of had conversations like this, where it was guests, or even if I didn't, I'd talk about some things that kind of incite change in people. Right now I've been kind of just rounding up some folks and just talking about their successes. And that could be, I moved out of my mama house finally, or I had a addict parent and I'm here still, something it's great to interview multi-billion-dollar company owners and all that. And if I ever had the opportunity, I would be here for it. So trust me. But I'm saying
multi-million-dollar business owners.
Yes, please holler at me.
Holler at her. We'll give her Twitter out.
But I think it's important to realize. So my intro to the podcast really kind of dives deep into it. And it wasn't a deep moment for me. I swear. I was looking up just stuff for a new workout routine that still is not even existent. And I looked at the deadlift itself and what it requires your body to do for you to be successful and not hurt yourself. Well, it activates your entire body is activated to do a deadlift, especially weighted.
Yeah.
And all of it's activated to strengthen your core enough so that you can do it and stand. And I think a lot of times when we're growing and learning, because that's something we should always be doing, it takes our entire person to really get in line with our successes. And successfully doing a deadlift with weights, right, is the same thing. But you look over and you see somebody else lifting 3 times the weight, looking like a swan from, some ballet. You're like, damn, I'm over here. I'm barely even getting to the gym. And this person is doing all this and they look amazing. But we forget that there was a process because they started where you were. Doesn't matter if they were fat or super skinny. It doesn't matter where they started, but there was a journey there to get them to that point. And I have a lot of friends that are heavy workout people and I've seen their progression and it's a lot of hard work. That's life. So if I want to
day one.
Exactly. So if I want to get to that point, I'm either going to ask somebody or I'm going to do some research and then I'm going to vet stuff out. I'm going to grocery shop some ideas. Cause when you go to the grocery store, do you buy everything in every aisle?
Nope.
No. So you're going to get what you need, right? And then you're going to leave. And to me, that's how life is. The same way with getting advice when you're working out or whatever. You're going to grocery shop what works for you for whatever your goals are.
Fits your recipe, fits your needs,
exactly.
fits your lifestyle.
Yeah. So that's how the Deadlift podcast came about. So I've been interviewing people that I know have had successes in areas. And even if they feel like they don't, I kind of provoke thought because it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be a question of when did you realize you're an adult? You know what I mean? Like we've all had that moment shit, I'm really an adult. Even though we thought we were grown.
Those movie moments where you're like, damn. This is happening because you've seen it in the movies where they have those moments where it's like, oh shit, they're an adult now, and then you had that moment. It's like, damn,
right.
I like that a lot, Drea.
You do?
I do.
Thank you.
Because there's a lot to be said about this simple, everyday, you and me kinds of mastery.
Yeah.
Not every master is a master cellist. Not every master is a master electrician. Not every master is a master computer engineer. You can master your own shit, and there's a lot of beauty and a lot of power in those stories. I'm into that. Yeah.
And I think oftentimes, again, we look at the end result of somebody like Oprah, or we look at the end result of somebody like, if this is, name whoever. I'm thinking about all kinds of black people today. I'm sorry, you guys.
Jay-Z.
Well, no, we don't want to say Jay-Z. We want to say someone else.
Steve Harvey.
No.
All right.
No.
But there's a guy, I think his
Harvey.
name is Tony Daniels, and he's a really great social media, he's a great, like a digital marketing genius. It's Tim Ferriss,
Al Heyman.
Yeah, there you go. So these are people that have these crazy, great, enormous successes, which is so awesome because there's something to aspire to, but they're not necessarily where you are. And I think for me, I want to have a good mix and meet everybody where they are and then kind of run my mouth when I don't have a guest. So
Gives you the space and the freedom to say what you need to say.
Yeah, exactly.
At the time you want to say it too.
Right. I was thinking I was going to try and include it with Nothing But a Word podcast, but I feel like the Nothing But a Word podcast is so specific. I think it touches on relationships and self-discovery. And then we have a good time, which I still want to have a good time. Kind of like this conversation, right? We still got our jokes in. We still had a good time, but it's not often that we see those people in the quote unquote successful spaces. Sorry, I'm like losing my tongue today. Successful spaces, and really get to kind of pick their brain, but have a good time. A lot of times it drags on, and you're like, God, get to the good shit. Like, and that's what I want to do, is get to the good shit and have a good time.
Gotcha.
Too. So
it's always good to have a good time. And like Miss Jane said, that idea, that concept is I think something that's needed and that people will enjoy and will respond to, because as we said, we're all trying to figure this shit out. Like
one day at a time. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And the people I talk to, the older they are, they say the same shit. Is they still trying to figure it out. They got a better understanding in some cases, but we all just trying to one day at a time, and hearing other people's successes and how they got there. That's one of the reasons why I got into podcasting as well, is I liked hearing other people's successes, and I wanted to give a platform for other people to allow them to do what we're doing right now, is give you the space to say things that you want to say, and in a positive light, but provoke thought, because I think that's something important, that provoking thought, provoking creativity. That's why I like being around creative people. That's why I like this space, because creativity creates more creativity. It creates an atmosphere of creativity. So the energy is amazing, and that is beneficial.
Yeah.
And also, just to bounce off what you said very early on about how you personally don't consider yourself a creator, there's the reception and the discussion that comes after an act of creation. And I think as humans, those two things are just as valid as creation, because like you said, we're not all necessarily generating these things ourselves, but we can still bond over the reception of it. Yeah. And that can be just as deep.
Yeah. I feel that.
We've been talking on for a minute. You know what I'm saying? I know our listeners.
Do you have any other pressing questions that you just have to get out?
I do. There's one last question that I feel like is a key question is, what do you think is the key to your success and the success of your podcast going forward? And in your life? I mean, that is a triple loaded question.
That's a big one.
Yeah, you got to pick one, man.
Don't do me like that at the end. So first portion I heard was, what do I think is the key to my success? I have to give you what I think my downfall has been first. And I think I am a multitasking queen. And I don't allow other things to affect me very often. Very rarely does it. But there's one area that is my hot spot, and that is my kid. That's my son. I love him to death. He'll be 10 in April. And I've kind of allowed that situation to run me. And I'm not saying I don't need to be an available parent or anything, or that I'm the best parent in the whole entire world. I don't think that, right? I think all parents have room to grow, right? So that's just true. It just is what it is. But I've kind of allowed that situation and everything surrounding it to kind of run me ragged. I realize now that it's no longer an excuse, right? So the key to my successes is to hit the ground running, balls to the damn wall. And one of the things that kind of kicked me in gear was, this sounds so cliche. And if anyone knows me, anybody that knows me knows I'm not a relationship person. It's never been it was my journey, but wasn't for a very long time. Wasn't looking for a boyfriend. That's not my thing. I've never had another guy around my son, none of that stuff. Gotcha. And then I met this loser over here that takes 26 units, every semester, right? Trying to get into law school and all this other type of stuff. Work ethic is just solid. Like, I mean, like, I don't know anybody that works as hard. And I'm not saying that to just like stroke an ego. I'm talking about somebody that works full time. He's a corporate trainer for a bank. Oh, wow. So he's training other people and then coming home, studying, and then dealing with me and my drama, because Lord knows. And then that incorporation of having a family and juggling it all, and maintaining straight A's. And if you don't believe me, and if you think I'm lying about this man.
Google
I
this
am
man.
not. Please, I will screenshot all these A's he's been getting. And that is what kicked me in gear because I don't have an excuse. Yeah, no, that's not his kid and he doesn't have this overhauling responsibility, but that's my only responsibility. So what's next? If I can put my mind to quitting my job and making a living still,
Yes.
and my only excuse is my kid, come on, sis. Like, it's not that hard. So we had this conversation recently. You know, I said, I need to tap into your brain. I need to get whatever that like, and I'm not saying that he's perfect because he gets on my nerves and I'm sure I get on his nerves. But in that area, I don't have fruit on the tree. So I need to tap into your brain and figure out what it is that I'm missing, that I'm not reaching my potential. Cause it's not enough to say somebody has potential. It's not enough to talk about your dreams. It's not enough to talk about luck. Cause that's bullshit.
It's all
gotta
air.
work.
It's air. Yeah. So what's the work?
You got to put in the work.
What is the work and what's the work look like?
Yep.
And that's really what it is. It's not that I've never had the idea. It's not that I didn't have the ambition or the gumption, but what is it so I need to kick my ass in gear. And if
Get
that
it concrete.
means, exactly. And if that means, I got to sacrifice some stuff. Like I went into this year and I said, okay, Drea, it ain't time to celebrate. You just need to hit the ground running. And I don't even care if I, in the year, making more money than I did last year. Not this year, at least. But, I need to do something. And that's what it is. That's my passion. That's what, that's what I need to feel like I'm doing something in the world. I don't need a pat on the back. I'm not that person. I love to have a good time. I'm fun with my friends and all that, but it needs to be something. And if that's where it's really at, then I need to look at an example that shows me that it's possible, but how much work are you going to put in?
That drive pushes your drive.
Absolutely.
And that's why that is inspiring because everybody needs somebody because there's going to be those moments when it's just like you said about working out. Yeah. There's those days where you're like, fuck that shit. I'm tired. I don't want to go to the gym. But when you have somebody that's with you, that's there on those days, that's like, yeah, I don't want to go either, but we going. Yeah. So it's like, all right.
A rule in our house is we don't half-ass shit. If you gonna do something, you gonna do that shit all the day. He listens to all my podcasts and it's like, oh, that was good. This was, you might wanna, or whatever. I'm holding you accountable because that's what you said you were going to do. And I do the same thing. This is what you said. I need the results.
You gonna study this time?
I'm going to need to see that, and we're super busy. So we schedule time. We have to schedule time during the week. Like once I found out when I was coming here, I said, hey babe, we're going to this podcast. I'm going to need you to roll. All right. We'll put it in a calendar. We share a calendar. I'm not even kidding. We share a calendar so that we know what's going on and plan our week out. Because if not, we won't spend time together.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have to make time. And it doesn't have to be some crazy thing. I talked about this on my podcast. We just went to I love pho. So we found this pho restaurant.
Shout out to pho. Shout out to pho.
So good. So good. And then we went to Target. And that's my favorite place on earth. And that's all we did on our random ass date night. We didn't do anything. We didn't spend a whole lot of money. We just we got a chance to spend time outside the house. Together. Away from work and school, and we just spent time together. And I think that's equally as important with your friends or your family or somebody you feel needs support. Like those are the little things that build so much from. You can't get that by going out to the club. And granted, I love clubbing. Okay, I am not shaming. But what I'm saying is you just get so much more out of people in a more organic element. And so that's what I really want for that podcast is for people to come and feel like they can be themselves and give something to somebody. It doesn't have to be, like I said, I have this secret to be rich in 3 years. No, just tell somebody how to not be depressed. Walk somebody off a ledge. You know what I mean? Like that's the shit that matters. Let someone know
they're not alone.
And they're not alone in this world. And I may not even relate to everybody. Maybe my stories don't matter, but I have somebody that their story actually matters. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And sometimes that's all it takes. And sometimes that's more beneficial, more long lasting than how to make $1 million in in a year.
Yeah. There's actual scientific studies that show that after $75,000 a year, your happiness is no longer attached to your money.
Exactly, because at a certain point, that's why I say, like, at a certain point, you're just being, like, literally greedy. Like, if you have if you're a billionaire and you're trying to figure out a way to become a two billionaire, what the hell can you buy at $2 billion that you really couldn't buy at $1 billion that is really that worth? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you trying to buy the world?
There has to be a balance. I'm not mad at nobody making that money.
No, make your money. And I'm not saying that either, but at the same time, like, if there should be more to your life than just that.
Yeah. I agree.
Hopefully.
I agree.
Because
right.
Like,
right.
I don't imagine on your dying bed, you're like, dang, that $2 billion would have made a difference.
$2.5 billion.
I think you're thinking more about, like, oh, I remember that time when me and my girl watched this movie and we had the best time of our life. Or we saw this show, or when I saw Prince and that shit was amazing. Like, those moments that you can't necessarily just buy. It's just you have to experience life experiences.
Yeah. I'll say that it was a privilege for me to be, well, not a privilege, but it was really hard. But both my mother and my brother died of cancer. My mother died very quickly from cancer, 6 months or whatever. And that was never the conversation. It was never, oh, you know, how much money do we have in the bank? My mom's questions were, are you guys good? You know, what needs to happen? Same thing with my brother. I mean, it got so crazy. My brother was like, he was in remission for years, but he was like, I'm tired of going to the hospital. I just want to live a normal life. I'm tired of, he had a catheter in his chest that connected directly to his artery because they'd be poking his veins for the chemo. And then the valve would get infected. And he was just like, I just rather die.
Wow.
I don't want to live like this. And that let me know that my life has to be a little bit more than me getting into some mess, being full of drama, being mad at everybody, blaming everybody for my own downfalls and all that type of shit, because those people didn't have a choice. They were going to die anyway. Yeah. So even just having those moments and those conversations with them, and I am not a super emotional person. I don't live in an emotional space ever. But during that moment, I just realized that it's just more to life than just looking for something that you can hold in your hand. You got to be able to give something to somebody.
Yeah.
Literally.
And that is me and my brother just experienced my uncle going through cancer and those final moments as well. And we lost our mother too, but not to cancer, but
yeah. So
I understand that same concept of like doing more, giving more, and understanding that, like you said, that the tangible things aren't,
that's not it.
It's not it. It's going to be a fleeting thing because there's always going to be new stuff. There's always going to be something bigger, something better, something shinier.
Always.
Something...
And somebody better.
Exactly. So like those experiences is the things that you can't get back. And when those people leave you, that's when you realize, well, for me, that's when I realized the most is like, I'll take anything to get those moments back.
Yeah.
So if you take anything to get those moments back, you got to appreciate those moments when you have them. At least for me.
Yeah.
So.
Just had a brief other comment, and it goes back a couple minutes, so sorry, because I think I missed my window a little bit.
It's okay.
But just I
can go, so it's good.
any women who are big fans of the Stay Woke podcast, I just want to take a second to honor the process by which you settled into your role as a mother, because I'm a mother too, and I feel like there's a real tension when we have our babies about how much of ourself as a woman becomes I am a mother.
Yes.
And what does it mean? What does it mean we can do? How does it affect our choices? What does it say about our love for our children if we choose other things sometimes?
Yes. Oh, girl.
All that whole thing. And I'm just really inspired by how you came to a place of peace about what it was going to mean that you are a mother. Does it mean you cannot do other things? And when, and you had a whole process about it, and I really respect that. My babies are littler than yours, but it is a real tension, and I like that you have made a space for yourself to do work that matters to you, because you as a woman a mother is a part of it, probably a key part,
Yeah.
maybe the first thing you think of now. But there are other things too. You still have the rest of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to point that out.
Thanks, sugar.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. You're so sweet.
F Maddie, bro. You ain't spoken in a
2-8,
minute.
you
Put
already
it,
spoke,
yeah,
go.
put it. It's out there.
I was in my thoughts. Sorry. No, you guys are making all your
No, actually. I mean, you could bring it up. I don't want.
I just lost my father last month of cancer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
sorry
guys,
to
I
hear
was
that.
in my little thoughts right there. Just
Yeah.
now, just letting you guys go on.
It's hard. You know, I'll say so.
We getting
So
deep,
my
guys.
mom was diagnosed in December of 2006 with pancreatic cancer. Officially in January of 2007
That's what my uncle had.
or
pancreatic
2006.
cancer.
It was 2006. Sorry, January of 2006, 2005, December. And then my brother was diagnosed with cancer in April.
Wow. That's so short
And
of
then
a
I
window.
got pregnant in July. So
That's a hell of a year.
it's a lot. And my mom passed away in June.
Wow.
And it was tough. And it weighs on you. And I think had it not been for how my parents had talked to us about death and what that means and how we need to prepare and how it's so natural. And yes, it's okay to be sad and it's okay to be, affected by those things. And my podcast with my friend Anth, we talk a lot about embracing these emotions because it's important. It's important. I was listening to another podcast. They're not paying me, so I won't say. It's a big podcast, so really, I'm really not going to mention them. But it talked about fear leading towards decisions. And I thought, if fear leads people to decisions, then I need to find a bigger fear to push me to my success. That was just today before I came here. I wrote it on my mirror.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah. And it's that kind of stuff that's what pushes us. That's what makes us who we are. It's not the going out partying, letting people see you be that dude or be that lady in the club. Like, all right, that's fun. Mm-hmm. But that's not what makes you. What makes you is those moments. And they may not even be hard moments. It's those moments that you have this self-realization. So for me in that space, I was dealing with a lot of anger issues and all kinds of stuff. And that I just realized a lot of the things that I was battling within myself just didn't matter. And, taking care of my mom who barely knew who I was at some point, crawling around my house, and then my brother's sick with a tube down his throat at my house. And then dealing with other family members trying to give their input. And it was really me and my sister and my dad, who wasn't even with my mom at the time. They had been divorced for 4 years. And we were the ones making sure she got to where she needed to be. We were making sure she ate. We were making sure that they had, it's so much with that. And I don't feel bad about it. It doesn't even make me cry anymore because I feel like I learned so much about people. And the greatest thing that I learned is everybody has their place.
Yeah.
I wasn't the person that was at the hospital every single day. My sister was. My dad was. They did the rotations of the 2 hospitals because both my brother and my mom were sick. You know what I did? I made sure all her stuff was signed over. I made sure business was being taken care of. I made sure bills were getting paid. I made sure my brother Elijah's medical stuff was taken care of. We stayed in our lane and nobody was mad at each other because that's not my space. It got so bad to the point where I was like, I can't go to the hospital anymore. It was just too much. It weighed too much on me, but I did everything else. And my sister took care of that stuff. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. No. And I think that's the problem with us as a society, as millennials. We're trying to do everything all the time, just like everybody else. No, find your lane.
Yeah. And just stick
to that.
And
you don't have to be everything else.
And be okay in that lane.
Yeah.
Because you are my spirit animal. Because these are the things that I've been saying, and I feel like, and when I tell people it, they give me that look like I don't quite get what you're saying. But
Stay in your lane. Nobody's mad at you for that.
Exactly. It's like, why worry about what they're doing if you're doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Talents come in different kinds. There's 31 flavors. We don't all got to have all 31.
Right.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what you were just saying. Like you, at this time, this crisis time in your family, you both stepped into the things that were easier for you to do.
Yeah.
And the whole work of the family got pushed.
Yeah.
And if you tried to make each other split it for some weird fairness thing that is weird.
Because fair is it's a perception.
Yeah, it's
As
nonsense.
Stephen A. Smith says, fair is only at a place for pigs.
Right.
Because there is no fair when it boils down to it. You have to do what's right for you and for your situation.
Yeah.
And that's not going to fit everybody's situation. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That is perfectly fine.
What you got for me?
Go, F and Maddie, he's weighing in the cut. He's
See,
ready.
now I read
I'm
body
sorry.
language
Now,
like
now,
nobody's business.
remember I was telling you about my McDonald's story. You know what I'm saying? The dude called me, Uncle Tom. It's like somebody like that.
He's been waiting all podcasts to bring that up. He's been waiting all podcasts to let that go.
Remember what you said earlier? Talk somebody off a ledge. So I'm sitting there like, he's all you probably voted for Trump, didn't you? I'm looking at him like, you know what I'm saying? So I could read people. You probably like, where are you from, man? He's asking me these questions. I'm like, where are you from? He says, I'm from the Bay Area.
No, you're not.
Exactly. And I looked at him, I
Nobody from the Bay
said,
says that.
okay, first of all, we're in the Bay Area. Okay, first of all, so I know you're not from here because you would not say that. You would say like a city or something like that. He said, he finally said, I'm from Vallejo. I said, oh, okay. I'm not going to say it's not the Bay Area, but okay, you're
It's
from
kinda.
Vallejo. Yeah, it is. But, I was just, just trying to just talk to the dude like, hey, man, trying to teach him something. Hey,
Yeah.
you want to use my phone because your phone is dead. I'm sorry. You can't use my phone. All right. I don't want some random number calling my phone back or nothing like that.
Or running off with your phone. You know how many people get robbed like that?
Yeah. I'm not worried about that. But
Oh.
that's what he said though. That's what he said though.
Because Matt's 6'8", 280 solid.
6'8", 260 solid.
Oh, 260,
6'8",
I'm sorry.
260 solid.
Yeah, don't disrespect him.
My
Don't give him no 20
265 had a
pounds.
big lunch. You know what I'm saying? You never know. You feel me?
First of all,
I had a bowel movement.
everybody,
either, so I'm solid.
that is a lightweight inside joke because he says that all the time, but he's not 6'8", 260.
I was
You
thinking,
just, why
I was
you
like,
just
you
trying
don't
to steal
look
my
that
thunder?
tall.
Goodness.
But
I gotta let the people know. Because we keep it 100 on here,
Back to my
bro.
story. It really did bother me. He called me Uncle Tom. That's what I'm really mad about. Like, this motherfucker called me Uncle Tom. I'm just looking at him like, okay, so now he plays the role like, oh, you're supposed to be my brother. You're supposed to be oh, okay, like, when you need something, I'm your brother and stuff like that. And he was insinuating that I was afraid of black people because I'm because we're in a Union City, a suburb.
Oh my goodness!
And he didn't even know what city he was in. So okay, I'm like, all right, so now you think that I'm afraid of African American males? Now it's come on, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to teach you something. Like, hey, you got to call somebody to pick you up to get you to work. Okay,
Right.
to get your money. Okay, and then I'm a stranger, and now you're revealing information like I got racks in the bank, and I got a
you
2010 Challenger at the house. I just can't drive it because my L's are suspended, and okay, you going through some things, all right? You know what I'm
We all
saying? I
been
just
there.
a brand new phone. I got $400 in my pocket. He said he got brand new shoes, and I'm like, man, like I'm a stranger. You're revealing all this information to me. Just lets me further know, like you're killing yourself right now. I'm just like, just take responsibility and have your
Right.
phone charged because you need to get to work to pay for more Jordans for all your kids and he said that too. I'm like,
That's because that's what you're supposed to do.
that's just like this dude is like clearly misguided. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that he even said, it's the white person that was gonna help me out more than you, and I'm like,
Well,
I mean,
then let them continue to help
that
you.
white person gonna help you
That's
out, but that's
perfectly
but
fine.
that's fine. But he not teaching you nothing. I'm trying to teach you something. Come prepared. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Charge your phone. You know what I'm saying? You got to get your money right for your kids, right? I'm trying to teach you something so that this is life changing for you. You feel me? What
Get
I'm
your
about
life
to give
together,
you,
player.
he just gonna give you now. Get away from me. You know what I'm saying? That's what he wants. It's out of fear that he helping you. I'm trying to really help you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, and you called me Uncle Tom. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm Uncle Tom, really?
Yeah.
I voted for Trump. I was like, now 3 weeks ago, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I was going through some things.
Yeah,
I probably would have dog walked you up and down this McDonald's, you know what I'm saying? Just because, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he was like, ain't like I'm trying to take your phone. But then I had to really get firm with him. Like, I said it I know you're not going to try and take my phone. Like, I said it like he heard it too. Like, I'll beat your motherfucking ass if you try to take my phone. Like, I know that ain't the problem, but it's the youth. The youth.
It boils down.
Misguided.
And in Maddie's mind is the youth.
It's the youth. That's how we should end the podcast.
Teach
you know
the
what I'm
youth.
saying? Just
Teach
come
the youth.
prepared and come correct.
Joey Badass.
Hello.
Everything refers back to music. Anyways. Hey, but y'all need to check out that Joey Badass, The Land of the Free. That track just dropped Thursday, January 19th. Mm-hmm. It's pretty dope.
Okay.
He's an awoke brother, I'll say that.
You feel like you got everything you need?
I think so. Do you feel like you said everything you needed to say? Because this is all about Drea.
Oh my
McDonald's,
God. You put
my
a lot of
McDonald's
pressure
story in
on
there.
me.
Hey, pressure makes diamonds.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. I really hope that, everybody got a little something from today. That's always my journey. And please don't think that I am perfect, because I am not. I do not even pretend to be, but at least I kind of know my direction. So hopefully you'll tune in to Nothing But a Word. You can find that on iTunes. You can find it on SoundCloud. You can find it on Google Play. We have a Twitter account, But a Word. And then we have Instagram, Nothing But a Word. And you can find me everywhere at Drea Miss Lady. That's DREA, M as in Mary, I, S as in Sam, S as in Sam, LADY. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys.
No
I
problem.
could go on and on, but don't do that to me today.
So I just want to say, I really, really appreciate you coming on the Stay Woke podcast. It was fun having you. I want to again thank Miss Jane and of
Hey, Miss
course
Jane.
Effie Matt,
You're welcome.
family friend of the podcast. I want to say I really did have a good. I felt this was a good podcast, a good enjoyable conversation with you. We should do it again sometime.
Yes.
And then of course shout out to definitely no, I'm saying check out all of her accounts. Check out the podcast Nothing But a Word, as she said, on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play. And then when she finally releases her solo podcast, we will update the description.
I'm working.
See, we just pushing. We'll update the description, and we'll definitely get a link to that as well, because
nice.
Because based on this, I definitely think it was something you should check out.
Yeah, and hit me up, guys. Like
Hey,
I
she
want it
is
to be
Twitter
so engaging.
friendly.
Yeah, so hit me up on either one. I manage both. Hopefully I can continue to manage both. But
her
yeah,
shit
hit
up.
me up. Any questions that you have, I'd be more than happy to ask someone those questions if I don't have the answers. I'm super engaging, so don't be shy. No question is too dumb. Well, just don't get
There
out
are
of
limits.
control.
There are
don't
limits.
get out of control. Go for it.
Has anybody ever called you Uncle Tom? Specifically at McDonald's?
No one's ever called me an Uncle Tom.
Okay.
No.
Then
I've
you don't
gotten
even
the
know.
angry black woman thing. I don't feel like I'm an angry black woman, but I've never been called an Uncle Tom. Don't get me started about microaggressions.
I mean, yeah, I be angry. I just happen to be black. I mean, shit. I be angry sometimes, though. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so angry today. And I'm white as fuck.
And that's where we'll end the podcast with the angry white woman and the angry black man.
No, I just happen to be angry, okay,
So-
and black. I mean, it's just a
I'm sorry.
difference, all right?
Let me rephrase that.
At the same time,
The angry white woman and the
black
angry
dude that's just, I mean, you know,
man that just happens to be black.
that's
And
all
that
it
what
is.
and that's the Stay Woke podcast. Check us out, thesonicbreakdown.com, read the reviews, and of course, you can always support us on patreon.com/staywoke, our Indiegogo page, which is indiegogogo.com/staywoke podcast. And stay woke, stay healthy, stay fit. Our motto is live, listen to some great music, and above all, love more, man. We out.